In 2001, shortly after the American attack on Afghanistan, Mullah Abdul-Jabbar Omari received a message instructing him to immediately reach Kandahar, wherever he was. Kandahar was considered the home of the Taliban. When Omari reached Kandahar, he met Mullah Omari, a trusted bodyguard of the then Taliban chief, Mullah Omar. Omari asked him if he could hide Mullah Omar in a secure place so that the Americans could not find him. Omari immediately agreed and said he would do everything possible to keep him safe. He even added, if necessary, I will hide him under my wife's burqa. Mullah Omar's bodyguard, Mullah Shir, placed him in a vehicle and took him to Maidan Chowk in Kandahar, where a small group of Taliban was waiting for them. When Omari stepped out of Mullah Shir's vehicle and approached the group, Mullah Omar held his hand and asked, "Can you keep me safe?" Omari replied, "Only Allah can keep you safe, but I will surely try." By noon, Mullah Omar was sitting in a white Toyota vehicle. Along with him in the car were Mullah Omari, Mullah Azizullah, and an unidentified man. This white Toyota, carrying 4 high-profile Taliban members, left Kandahar and headed northeast, taking the road to Zabul province. By December 2001, the U.S. had already attacked Afghanistan in search of Osama bin Laden, the mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks. As a result, the Taliban government in Afghanistan was on the verge of collapse. The Taliban leadership then decided to change their strategy. Instead of governing, they would begin a guerrilla war against the U.S. and its allies. Meanwhile, the U.S. announced bounties on Taliban leaders' heads, offering a reward of $10 million for Mullah Omar. In this situation, the Taliban leadership started hiding in safe locations. In his last meeting in Kandahar, Mullah Omar handed over command of the Taliban to his close associate Mullah Obaidullah Hotak and then headed towards Maidan Chowk in Kandahar. Mullah Obaidullah, who was previously the Taliban's defense minister, then called Mullah Abdul-Jabbar Omari and tasked him with keeping Mullah Omar safe from the Americans. Omari, a mid-level Taliban leader, was also a tribal chief from Zabul province. Although he had only known Mullah Omar from a distance before, he had good relations with Mullah Obaidullah Hotak. He took Mullah Omar from Kandahar to his area in Zabul. By the evening, the white Toyota vehicle had reached a village near the city of Khalid in Zabul. They arrived at a modest mud house with 5 rooms. In the courtyard of the house, there was a traditional clay oven and a water well. One of the rooms had a secret chamber built in the shape of an L. This chamber was attached from the inside to other rooms in such a way that it was impossible to detect from outside. The chamber included a small kitchen and a latrine. Mullah Omar was settled in this hidden chamber. To further secure the house, Mullah Omar's bodyguard, Omari, dug a pit behind the hoe. To further secure the house, Mullah Omar's bodyguard, Omari, dug a pit behind the house and buried the white Toyota vehicle in the ground. This house belonged to Abdul-Jabbar Omari's family. He told his wife and children that a special guest was staying with them and warned them not to reveal his presence to anyone, or they would all be killed. Mullah Omar stayed inside his chamber most of the time, occasionally sitting in the courtyard to soak up the sun. He had an old Nokia phone without a SIM card, which he used to listen to recorded Quranic recitations. Omari personally took care of Mullah Omar's food and other needs, while Omari's driver, Ustad Abdul Samad, handled transportation, delivering messages, and bringing essential supplies. Mullah Omar would sit for hours in his chamber engaged in religious remembrance, zikr. In the evenings, he would listen to BBC Pashto radio broadcasts, while in the adjacent room, Omari would tune into Voice of America's broadcasts. While Mullah Omar was living in Khalid, American forces launched house-to-house search operations. On 2 occasions, U.S. troops entered the house where he was hiding. The first time, Mullah Omar and his guard, Omari, were sitting in the small garden of the house when suddenly, American forces stormed in. Mullah Omar and Omari quickly jumped into nearby bushes and remained hidden there until nightfall. The Americans searched the house and the village but eventually left, unaware of their presence. The second time, the American forces entered the house while Mullah Omar was inside his hidden chamber. On this occasion, Omari was not present in the house. The Americans searched every room one by one but could not find the hidden chamber where Mullah Omar was hiding. The reason they failed was that the entrance to Mullah Omar's L-shaped chamber was through a small door inside another room. This door was concealed behind a large wooden cupboard. The cupboard gave the illusion that it was just against a wall, successfully deceiving the Americans into thinking there was no hidden room behind it. By 2004, as the U.S. presence in Afghanistan intensified, just a few hundred meters from Mullah Omar's house, the Americans began constructing a military base, known as Lagman Base. When engineers started digging for the base's foundation, Mullah Omar decided to change his hiding place. His driver, Ustad Abdul, put Mullah Omar and his bodyguard, Umari, into a vehicle and drove them 25 kilometers southeast to the town of Sawali. There, Umari and Ustad Abdul built a small hut for Mullah Omar on the bank of a river. Underneath this hut, a stream of water flowed, originating from the mountains. The reason for constructing the hut above the stream was strategic. If the forces ever raided the place, Mullah Omar and his companion could escape through the water channel below. However, soon after they had settled into their new hiding spot, the Americans began constructing another military base just a few minutes away from their hut-like residence. This new base housed more than 1,000 coalition troops at any given time. Despite the proximity of this military base, this time, Mullah Omar decided not to change his location and remained in the same place. He lived inside a tunnel within his room, only coming outside during the winter to sit in the sun. There were many other houses near his residence, and the villagers were mostly Taliban supporters. The locals were aware that a high-profile Taliban figure was living among them, but they had no idea that it was, in fact, the Taliban chief, Mullah Omar himself. During this period, Mullah Omar played a minimal role in the Taliban's organizational structure and decision-making. For highly important decisions, messengers were sent to seek his approval. These messengers typically arrived every 3 months. It is said that one of these messengers was Mullah Aziz. Mullah Omar's health began to deteriorate, prompting his bodyguard, Mullah Abdul Jabbar Umari, to suggest calling a doctor. However, Mullah Omar strictly refused. He even avoided taking any medicine. His condition worsened as he started experiencing coughing and vomiting. Eventually, he agreed to take an injection obtained from the local market, but by then, it was too late. Mullah Omar had become extremely weak and ill. Throughout this time, his bodyguard, Umari, took complete care of him, but his health did not recover. In his final days, Mullah Omar remained bedridden. A day before his death, he told Umari in his weakened state, "I still feel unwell." After that, he lost consciousness. Umari called out, "Mullah Sahib! Mullah Sahib," but received no response. When Umari lightly shook him, Mullah Omar's body collapsed. That was his last conversation. Later that night, during the final hours, Mullah Omar briefly regained consciousness but soon lost it again. The next day, on April 23, 2013, Mullah Omar passed away. On the same day, a fierce storm swept through Kandahar and the surrounding areas. The strong winds caused significant disruptions at the nearby American military base, overturning their war equipment. Mullah Omar's bodyguard, Umari, considered this storm a miraculous event linked to Mullah Omar. The storm that occurred on the day of Mullah Omar's death was later confirmed by Betty Dam, the author of a book about him. That same night, Umari, along with 2 other associates, buried Mullah Omar in an unmarked grave along with his clothes. They recorded the burial process on camera. Later, Umari traveled to Quetta, Pakistan, where Mullah Omar's family lived. There, he informed Mullah Omar's son, Mullah Yaqub, and his stepbrother, Mullah Abdul Manan, about his passing and showed them the video. The 2 of them requested to be taken to Mullah Omar's grave. 17 days later, they reopened the grave, confirmed the identity of Mullah Omar, and then reburied him in a wooden coffin. The Taliban leadership decided not to announce Mullah Omar's death at that time, as American forces were preparing to withdraw from Afghanistan. They feared that such an announcement could negatively impact Taliban operations. By the time the news of Mullah Omar's death was officially announced in 2015, more than 2 years had already passed since his passing. In 2021, the United States withdrew from Afghanistan, and the Taliban regained power. In 2022, the Taliban leadership unearthed Mullah Omar's white Toyota vehicle, which had been buried underground during his escape. Take care of yourself and your loved ones.